3 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
May is here, and Rainier Avenue Radio World will be celebrating Asian American, Pacific, and Hawaiian Islander Heritage Month all month long. Go to our website, www.rainieravenueradio.world, for the schedule of programs and special programs of interest to honor, celebrate the successes and achievements of Asian Americans during this Asian American, Pacific, and Hawaiian Islander Heritage Month.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. The trees that is groove.
Good afternoon. It's that time again. I'm Brenda Charles Edwards, the host of Seniors Matter. I'm so glad that you're here with me today on Rainier Avenue Radio .world, your community radio station. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, and of course, the Rainier Avenue Radio app. We feature interviews with people that provide services or have valuable information for seniors, their families, and the community. Do you need financial documents notarized? Are you in need of documents being read to you for clarity or completion? Please call me at Black Orchid Notary, 206-683-2636. Tell me where, I'll meet you there. Well, my guest today is no stranger to the world of Rainier Avenue Radio, but also to our community. He's been involved in the community with various activities and for very many years. I don't want to tell his age, but he's been around the block a few times. My guest today is none other than John Yasutake. We're going to be talking about Washington Equity Now Alliance, of which he is a board member. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Good afternoon, and yeah, please don't age me. Yeah, I'm just a little bit younger than rocks, as they say, or dirt.
It's more like dirt, but okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk about a very important group, a real young group. I mean, it's recently formed, but behind a serious movement to bring equity back into the state of Washington. And you can go on the site. I'm going to ask people if they have any frequently asked questions about winter. There's a site that it's now it's https waequitynow.com, and there's a section called Equity Now frequently asked questions. So I'm hoping he can get the information on. But it was formed because in 1998, I-200 came into being. It was a statewide initiative, and quite frankly, it was a con job, because when you were approached by people to sign the initiative petition, they would say, "Are you for civil rights?" And yeah, everybody that I know in the civilized world said, "Yeah, I'm for civil rights and equity and equality." So they signed it. But what they didn't realize, this was an effort to remove efforts and programs like affirmative action, corrective employment, things like that, to, as they say, equalize the playing field. And so now it's become a movement, and there's been some really good, like I said, outcomes that we're going to talk about today. And thank you very much for inviting me. Like I said, I was recently installed as a board member, but this has always been kind of my area of passion, both professionally and personally. So thank you very much, Brenda. And I really like your show, because my information tells me there aren't a lot of shows that deal with the issues you deal with when you talk about seniors matter, it's not, again,
And
we,
that's with an exclamation mark.
yeah, and we live in a society that's very youth oriented. It's not about older people like me. I won't say you, but like me. Um, you know, and it's a fact. This country is so youth driven and youth oriented, and that's unfortunate because we also come from cultures that revere older persons
Right.
and honor older persons. Ancestry.
But I also think, though, John, that our youth need to be educated about that
Mhm.
and the respect that needs to be shown, as well as helping out and to make an
Yeah.
older person's life a whole lot better than it is in
Yes.
a lot of cases.
Oh yes. It's yeah. That's a very important thing because it's almost like once you get old, you're cast aside. You know,
Yes.
you know, go
And they
away.
forget
Don't
about the
bother.
wisdom that is in you.
Exactly. Yeah, my kids say, "Geez, Dad, you know so much." No, I've just outlived you. I've lived longer than you. I mean, really, longevity has a lot to do with your body of knowledge that you can even remember. Like I say, I probably forgotten more stuff than you even know when I talk to young people in a pejorative way, and I shouldn't say that. But you can't tell me about stuff I've seen it and done it all,
Mhm.
and I'm 75, which 3/4 of a century. When you say it like that, you say, "Wow, that's a long time."
But
But
that's not old.
well, yeah,
See,
okay,
that's the
that's
whole thing. The society has been brainwashed to decide what is youth, what is old.
right.
And if
And
we're going to
value.
talk about old, we have a lot of old people in the White
Yeah.
House.
Yes,
So
we do.
does that mean that they're not capable? Well, some of them aren't, and they're starting to retire and
Yeah.
accept that fact.
Yeah,
So,
that's our Congress too. I mean, your White House, Congress, etc. But you're right. What is the cutoff? That says when you reach a certain age, you don't have any value to the society, that kind of thing. So
well,
hey,
who decided age 50 is the start of being a senior?
yeah, gosh, age 50. Well, 75 is the new 74.
No, no, I wouldn't say 75 is the new 74. I'd say 75 might be the new 40.
Well, that's kind of very liberal about that. But hey, 75 is a good number because that's the 75th anniversary of the Royal Esquire Club's coming up tonight, on
Oh, is
Friday.
it
Tonight, I
tonight?
got to put it, yeah, tonight down at the Royal Esquire Club right there at 5016 Rainier Avenue South. I'm putting them in a plug for them
I
because they've
noticed
done
that,
a lot.
but that's
Yeah,
okay. But I
but
bet you anything, John,
well,
I bet you
your family's
anything.
been in, and your family's been involved in the Esquire Club. They've been, long time community members. Your family,
John,
my in-laws, yeah,
John, I bet you
yeah,
anything, though.
yeah.
A lot of the people attending that event will be quote
Younger,
unquote young adults. However, there'll be a lot
yes.
of older adults. They're shaking their tail feathers.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
hey,
and let's call 911. Let's have 911 ready, just in case, just in case.
I'm so
No, but no,
glad.
I think it's great. I mean, the Royal Esquire Club has a history of the community, and so, anyways, but I'm here to talk about winter,
Yes,
and
you are.
I appreciate the invite because you ran into one of the um, winter members.
Yes, and who is on the board, by the way,
Oh gosh.
that you can
Uh,
remember?
Jesse Weinberry is basically the chair.
Okay.
Um, Delbert Richardson,
Oh,
uh,
really? Okay.
yeah, Winona Haig,
Haig.
myself, uh, Rita Bruce is a member. She comes to the meetings. Audrey and gosh, Audrey's the last name I don't have. She's with,
Oh,
uh,
wait, Rita is your new treasurer, isn't she?
yeah, she's a treasurer,
Hey,
so
now
she is
don't diss her.
involved. Um, we have Lillian Hawkins and gosh, we have Jamin, and I think he's in Bremerton. We have individuals who connect with us from Yakima because it's a statewide organization. And I apologize, but you can go to the site, https, waequitynow.com, and it goes /equity -now frequently asked questions. So you just go on and go to Equity Now, Washington Equity Now Alliance online, and you'll be able to see the stuff. Yeah, I got involved because one of the, I guess you could say, the highlights is their effort to bring back affirmative action. I-200 did away with it. They were able to motivate and get I-1000 on the books, but they came up short in terms of my understanding, short of overturning I-200, because then it goes into law, and that's how laws are created. You could have the legislature create them, or you could have the initiative, which gets codified as a law, because it's the people have spoken kind of philosophy. Either way, Washington Equity Now has tracked what has been going on in our state since I-200. At that time, since 1998, literally 20 years plus. 98% of the public contracts and dollars went to non-minority firms.
Non-minority firms?
Yes, white firms.
I got you. And
so, and there was a time and there was a requirement that minority firms get a percentage of state dollars in public contracting. And when we say public contracting, we're talking about the whole realm. Goods and services being professional services or services, products. It's just mind-boggling. 98%. And people say, well, that's not, check it out. You can look at the dollars and see where they went. Then you look at the impact of I-200 on public school enrollment at the higher education level, and how it kept kids and young people, BIPOC communities from enrolling in school, because there was no requirement to have goals to have young people in. And see, the fallacy of all of this was they sold I-200 on the belief that when you use affirmative action, you're getting people who are not qualified, that you're getting lesser qualified people over more qualified folks. And the more qualified folks in this instance, as John Carlson put it, white males are being discriminated against in affirmative action because it's reverse discrimination against white males. I mean, Tim Hyman, John Carlson, the idiocy of that mindset, that belief, is just deplorable. And it just, I can't for the life of me think that anybody with any rational thought ability would make a statement like that.
So, John, what is this group going to do, and how does one get involved in it?
Well, we meet open to the public meeting, Open Meeting Act and Open Public Meetings Act every Saturday, 7:00 a.m.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday.
Wow.
Pacific time.
I'm sorry, what was the time again?
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Not 7 p.m.
7 a.m., like early in the morning.
Yes, like
okay. There are early birds out there. There's no
well, we have to be early birds to be on this board and come to these committee meetings, but that's a fact. But we get together, and then one of the most salient features of it is a broad-based group. Equity Now, the Washington Equity Now Alliance is the statewide coalition of businesses, labor groups, civil rights groups, religious, LGBT organizations, BIPOC, seniors, veterans, disabled leaders, and community-based organizations collectively representing over 1 million citizens who are advocating for the elimination of systemic racism, sexism, ageism, all of that in Washington.
How long has this group been together, John?
Well, I probably only a matter of a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years at the most. And correct me, if you go to the site, you can find it. But one of the great things that has happened is we've brought back the discussion about what is equity. I mean, people talk about equality. that's wonderful. I talk about equity. That's why I was so interested in being part of this group, because when you talk about equity, equity means basically, on its definition, what is fundamentally fair. Equality means you and I can apply for a job. Equity means we're going to be treated fairly with respect to our application or whatever. And see, people, great to promote and advocate for equality. That's great. What I want to know is what's equitable. What is equity? How do we achieve it? And Washington Equity Now Alliance says one of the best ways to do it is to recover what we've lost when I-200 came in. Because again, it had a dramatic effect on minority women businesses, public school enrollment, higher ed, and employment, public employment. It curtailed the local government, City of Seattle, King County, State of Washington, all the public employees in the state of Washington from using affirmative action as a means to achieve, quote, diversity, equity, etc. And so they pushed very hard under Initiative 1000 to get it to overturn I-200. They came up like centimeters short. So the next move is when you study I-200, it says when race is used to determine an outcome for a less qualified person. Well, you and I both know, to our knowledge, when affirmative action gets used, no one who's not qualified gets hired.
Right.
You're competing with other qualified candidates. And so it just, again, it just boggles my mind that they were actually able to snooker the people of the state of Washington to sign that petition and that initiative. When people actually read it, and I've talked to people, and they look like us, and they said, "Oh my God, I signed that. I signed it in support of that. I didn't know that that's what that was about." And it was. They did a really good snow job. Anyway, so Equity Now Alliance says, well, hold it. We are going to do what we can to rescind the Initiative 200. So out of Initiative 200 came a governor's executive order, 9801. And that is what really curtailed the effort to bring equity. And Governor, one of the things we approached Governor Inslee, and we said, Governor Inslee, you must immediately sign an executive order rescinding Executive Order and Directive 9801, and that was the previous governor's administration, and replace it with what now we know as Governor's Executive Order 2202, which restores affirmative action in Washington State public employment, public school enrollment in colleges and universities, public contracting and procurement. And he signed it. The 1-year anniversary just came up a couple of months ago, and we're very happy and we're very optimistic, because one of the things that's looming on the horizon is the Supreme Court decision about affirmative action on 2 education cases, one being the Harvard case, private college, one being a public institution, University of North Carolina. So we're holding our breath. We're hoping to see a positive outcome. We're not optimistic about it because of the nature of the Supreme Court and who is on it. But
John, before you go on, would you explain those 2 cases, please, if you can?
Well, Harvard and North Carolina, one of the criteria used to determine who would be enrolled, only one, was the race or nationality or the ethnicity of the individual applicant. It wasn't the overriding factor. They had a whole stream of things: involvement in the community, academic sufficiency, things like that, athletics, all of these things. Race was not even the major factor. There's a group of individuals led by this knucklehead white dude that's motivated a group, and one of the groups is Asians for, I think, Asians for Equity in Education, which is their anti-affirmative action. And unfortunately, there are Asians. There's a large contingent of Chinese nationalists who live in this area too, who support that kind of rhetoric, who support that kind of approach, because they feel it's harming their children. And when you look at the data over the years, the enrollment of individual non-citizens at University of Washington has increased, and the enrollment of kids, native kids, African American, Asian, born here is going down. It's been in the decline. And people say, very, I guess you could say cynically, that University of Washington wants these foreign students because why? They pay 3 and 4 times the amount in tuition than an American-born or native child would pay. One of those. It's very cynical, but it's very true. And so you have this bunch of misguided folks that look like us, that look like me, as well as us, because one of the big champions of overturning affirmative action in California was Ward Connolly, African American brother. He ain't my brother, but whatever.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Facts.
Yes, I know. African American gentleman who was an outspoken critic of affirmative action programs, etc. Anyways, and he got that passed in the state of California, Initiative 100 or something like that. But anyways, getting back to Winnow. So it is our mission to bring back affirmative action or some form of equitable methodology to give opportunities for individuals to do business with the state of Washington with public dollars, to get into colleges and universities publicly supported with public dollars, and to be employed by local governments or in public employment supported by public tax dollars. I mean, all of this is supported by everybody who lives in the state of Washington, who pays taxes. And it includes people that look like you and I. And so I guess the thing that you scratch your head and say, well, hold it, isn't that fair? Isn't that the fairest thing, to make sure that people who pay into the system get an opportunity? Yeah, most people would agree. But this group says, nah, we can't use race as a conscious factor because, and no one says it's going to be used. It's only one of several factors. It's not the outline, but what's even worse, they're selling the belief that when you hire a person of color, you're hiring a less qualified individual. If you if you read their language, and that's insane. That's totally, I can't even dignify it. So, anyways, as you see, I'm very laissez-faire, huh?
You have a passion for this, yes.
Oh, I was going to say I was going to be kind of cynical and say I'm not that passionate. Oh, yes, I am.
Listen, John, before we run out of time, what other activities has Wayna been involved in?
Well, we had the opportunity to talk to one of the 3 legislators in the Tennessee legislature that were ousted because of their stand on gun control. And it was amazing. We were able to talk to one of the 3. The other one was 2 African-American men, both named Justin, in the Tennessee state legislature, and a white woman who supported them. They ostracized the 2 African-American legislators and ousted them out of the state legislature in Tennessee, but they let the white woman stay. And they asked her the question, the news said, well, why do you think you were not touched on this? Because of my race. And they said, well, and she says, because I'm white. And she was very blunt, but we had an opportunity to have him meet with us. Of course, his time was 10 o'clock in the morning. Our time was 7. But we had a chance to talk to, I think it was Justin Jones, one of the 2 gentlemen, very articulate, very passionate about serving the community over an issue that has been a deadly consequence in this country. Gun control is an issue that we have to get our hands around it, because it's not, what's happening is every week, if not every day, there's been a shooting, a mass shooting, that kind of thing. So, That's it. We also had invited one of the very first Ms. Colvin to come on. She was at age 14 the very first person that did not obey Jim Crow law about on public transit. She refused to give up her seat to a white person. And this was years before Rosa Parks.
Right.
Rosa Parks was done. This was done on behest of the NAACP in Birmingham, but this young lady just did it on her own. 14 years old. Excuse me, and you can sit on the site. This Colvin, we honored her for the things that she was doing, as well as again, we had Greg Wong come on, the deputy mayor, to talk about Asian American. I mean, not Greg Wong, but we had Alyssa Au, who not even Alyssa, Bernadette Connor, who's on the board at OCA, Organization Chinese American, which is part of the organization, NAACP, Urban League. There's a whole slew of organizations part of WINA. But anyways, she came and talked about Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and I have all these names I'm throwing at you, and they're not even the correct ones. But Bernadette Connor is on our board, and she came and talked about Asian Pacific Heritage Month. I was at the meetings. They showed a film about the internment. They also talked about Ake Kurose, who the middle school in Seattle was named after, who was an activist and was involved in CORE, Congress of Racial Equality for Open Housing. And just happened to know Phyllis's uncle, Walt Huntley, who was a member. He was actually the head of the local CORE group, again, Congress of Racial Equality. It's a real interesting history, and she was involved, Ake Kurose, the Kurose family.
So John, we're running out of time, but I want you to please let my audience know how, once again, they can get involved and what the website is, please.
The website is http or www.waequitynow.com. HTTPS, colon backslash Wa Equity Now, and so it's WAEQITYNOW.com /equity-now-frequently asked questions. That'll get you into the site.
Thank you, John. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. This is Brenda Charles Edwards, host of Seniors Matter. You can watch us live on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, Twitter, and of course on our app. Thank you to my listening and viewing audience. A special thank you to my special guest, John Yasutake, and Patrice Isley, vocalist. Have a safe Memorial Day weekend. And don't forget the state baseball championship game is tomorrow at 4:00. And live your life like it's golden. John, thank you. I will talk with you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.